I hate piracy websites, and it's not because of some sort of moral thing. Like we all know that these big companies in Japan have millions, if not billions, of dollars, and are doing perfectly fine. They barely pay their animators to begin with, so it's not a moral dilemma when it comes to anime piracy or video game piracy or cartoon piracy. And in fact, when I was a kid, I would, pirate One Piece or Dragon Ball. And as far as I know, One Piece and Dragon Ball are still doing okay. Now that I'm an adult with a source of income, I pretty much quit piracy for a number of reasons. First of all, I don't need to pirate stuff anymore. Second of all, um, piracy websites, they suck. I mean, a lot of them nowadays require you to install a VPN, which doesn't it sounds suspicious. And what else? Oh yeah, when you go to a piracy website, like an anime website, they usually like spam you with a bunch of pop-ups and porn advertisements, and it's really gross stuff. I got a strong stomach, but I don't like looking at that shit, and it's annoying too. I never gotten like a super virus or anything, but it's still very annoying. And a common argument could be like, "Oh, well, just use an ad blocker." No, because a lot of these piracy websites, especially for anime, actually have a like some sort of detector or something that tells them that hey, you're using an ad blocker. You can't watch the show until you remove your ad blocker. So yeah, it's very lame. And now I've been wondering how long can this go on? I mean, these sites are clearly illegal, and as someone who's been using the internet for over 20 years, I've seen plenty of piracy websites come and go because eventually the copyright system, whoever's in charge of that, they will catch these sites and they will have them taken down. Sometimes the host of the websites could even get arrested, like the ones for Putlocker. Putlocker was a site I used as a kid to watch Game of Thrones, and then hey, one day that got taken down. There are clones of it, but the clones are definitely worse. And then Kiss Anime that got taken down. Then there's Read Comics Online. That was a big comic website. It had everything on there. It had annoying pop-ups too, but now that's gotten taken down. And in defense of these piracy websites, I will give them this: they are very good at preserving stuff that nobody really knows about or watches anymore. They're great for preservation. Like not every company wants to preserve a certain piece of media, and that's why the piracy sites, that's one of their advantages. But over time, I started realizing that these piracy sites have gotten worse. Some of them, like Witco.com, even have a premium service. If you don't know what Witco is watchcartoonsonline.com. A premium service for an illegal piracy website. Isn't the purpose of piracy is to avoid paying for what you want to watch? If that's the case, I might as well use a legal streaming service like Crunchyroll, which sucks, by the way. I don't like streaming services at all because streaming services have a habit of losing the license to a certain product. That's why when it comes to media, I always go physical or do a digital purchase. Physical media is especially safer than digital purchases because I don't got to worry about streaming service, losing a license to show off One Piece or Monster. I don't got to worry about a streaming service to remove my copy of The Sopranos. I don't got to worry about a streaming service ruining my original copy of Yakuza Zero. That's why I always try to go with the physical route as much as possible because streaming services have a habit of losing, the show or movie that they host. And with piracy sites getting taken down, I gotta wonder how long will they last? You see, the common argument that people who pirate media or emulate games love to use is that, oh, well, it's like a Hydra. You take down one head, another will pop up. And that's true. Every time a piracy site does get taken down, another one will pop up. Maybe it won't be as good, but they'll definitely keep on popping up. And just like how they'll keep popping up, they'll eventually be taken down as well. And I gotta wonder though, the thing about the Hydra, the original Greek mythological monster, every time you cut off a head, it kept on growing another head. Hercules eventually did kill the Hydra though, permanently, and the Hydra stayed dead, and there was never another Hydra again. Same for God of War. And I wonder at some point, will there be a complete moment like how Hercules killed the Hydra? Well, where there will be like some sort of big event that will take down every single illegal streaming service out there, or every illegal piracy service. Now, of course, it's different from a Hydra because we live in a digital era. So I mean, we literally have the dark web where all sorts of weird and creepy stuff goes on. But it just kind of feels like piracy websites are getting harder and harder to come by. We're even at a point where you can't even really Google a piracy website because Google will try to redirect you and give you a more legal route, or will proclaim a message saying because of the DMCA, blah, 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 you can't Google search that website anymore. So I just gotta wonder what will happen, or when will that purge happen? How will people react? It's gonna be pretty funny and devastating at the same time, seeing so many people who can't afford physical media or a streaming service freak out because they do rely on piracy sites for media consumption. Anyway, that was just a thought I had that came to my mind.